Alright, so recently I saw a couple of videos on YouTube about roguelike games, and what really caught my attention was the style of game that seems pretty interesting and uses ASCII to represent everything. And in particular, it uses like ANSI color schemes from terminals to do that. And one such game is something called like Rogue, and I'll search with like original game because it was it's really old and there are a lot of roguelike games, but this one looked pretty interesting. I mean, it looks like trash compared to what the graphics we have currently, but yeah, I mean, it would be kind of cool to try and recreate something like this. I mean, have no idea how to do like random rooms like in this case, so that would be a good learning experience, I would say, like creating rooms procedurally, because that's a huge part of the game, right? To have like random rooms and try to fight monsters there or whatever. And yeah, that's kind of interesting to try and do a game that uses ASCII for the graphics. And I don't know, I would just say maybe it's gonna be easier than trying to use a game engine and stuff. I mean, yeah, because the last project was a bit of a fail with the game. I mean, I wouldn't say a fail, but yeah, after getting to like a POC point, I was like, don't really like it. So yeah, but yeah, I guess better to try to do a project, fail it, and rather than plan a project and not even do anything about it. So it is what it is. But let's see like the ANSI escape codes, which this is what I would like to use to be able to display colors in the terminal, because if you try to use the terminal, you can see that some of the things in here are colored, right? So for example, LA, and it has different colors, right? Or Neofetch, I guess. But yeah, I mean, the colors of the terminal, right? So that's used more or less here, like those uh, those ANSI escape codes to create those colors. And I have here like a really small script which we can use to see this in action. Basically, here you can see that it prints some kind of string, and this string is going to be interpreted as a color. So if we create like ANSI game, let's say, right, we have a project folder, right? And let's try to create a main.c file. Let's start with this, and let's just copy paste that piece of code, right? So it will just go through for loops, and here it prints some kind of string. So it starts with this 033, then square bracket, then it's a number, then it's an M, then it's another number, but this time it looks like I think this 3 means it's padded with zeros to be a 3-digit number, but I mean, this is gonna be just the number itself, it's no escape sequence. And then I think this one is for the reset, right? So when you don't have any number between these two things, it's gonna be reset. And if we try to compile this thing, compile it, we can see that it has different colors, at least for this part. I mean, yeah, for the rest of them it also has some stuff, like for example this one is underlined, but most other yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting because I can only see these I think 8 colors, so maybe it's just that my terminal, I mean, even this example here, it's not doesn't have all the colors, right? So yeah, maybe we need a different terminal to see more colors or something, but I would say that this should be enough for what I'm planning to do, like be able to have enemies with red, your player with yellow or something, then trees are gonna be green and water blue, so we have all the possible colors that we need, right? So that would be kind of cool. So let's try and do something with this information that we have so far. So yeah, like obviously the end goal would be to have a roguelike game, right? Have a character that we can move around, so that's gonna be interesting to do. So I guess let's begin with the character. So I mean, for the character I might just use an @ symbol that's usually used in these kind of games. So if we look, I mean, the screenshot is pretty small, but if you squint really hard, you can see that it's an @ symbol for the character. And I saw that this is usually, I mean, we can even use emojis, but no, the @ symbol, right? So that's a good idea to start with. But yeah, I mean, we can even just use a define, right, for the player, and we can just say it's gonna be an @ symbol, right? Sure, we could just put the entire thing from here like this, but now we should figure out which number we want to use here. So which number gives us the yellow color, right? I mean, I would like to use yellow for the, oh, and even other interesting things are being able to have like actual key presses, right? That's another interesting thing. So yeah, we have quite a lot of options, but I mean, for this kind of game the most useful ones are gonna be the colors, right? So that's what's important. Oh, perfect. I mean, yeah, just because I think it's 24-bit, right? The kitty terminal. So if we show term screen 256 color, interesting. Because yeah, if you look at this table, you'd say, okay, but I don't see all these colors. Not really sure why it's not displayed, but let's just try to use, oh, I mean, I'm pretty dumb. Obviously the colors are also numbered, so we literally see that it's 33 for yellow. So just use that, and then we can just escape and use the reset. Right? Then we can have stuff like the floor and stuff like that. Now, yeah, I'd be curious here, would you rather have like only the @ symbol for the player and then have a separate function that adds this extra stuff to it, or would you rather have this instead, right? So for example, for floor, would you rather have only a dot, or would you also add the, let's say, other stuff too? But I mean, yeah, I don't know if I want to show the floor as anything. Maybe the floor could be just empty space. That also works. But anyway, because yeah, we can use 30 for the floor, right? It's gonna be not visible anyway. And then we can also have walls. Wow. And yeah, I guess the walls can be white, so white I guess is 37 if you think about it. Yeah, like, and for walls we can use hash symbols, right? So something like this. And now we can just hard code a really small, let's say like a square map, find n, let's say this is the, I guess, width is gonna be, I don't know, 16 characters, the height and width, maybe height, let's make it 8 so that it's squarish. I mean, yeah, because characters are taller than width, so yeah. So let's try to do a for loop. So unsigned int, we start at 0, we go up to, let's say we don't call it I, we call it row, just to make things easier. So we go up until height, obviously, row plus plus. Yeah, it makes it, sometimes it's easier for me to think when I use a row. Sometimes it's easier with I and J, but yeah, I guess in this case it's easier with row. Width, and then we increase the column. And yeah, just to create a border for our map, I guess if the row is equal to 0 or the column is equal to 0 or the row is equal to height minus 1, because we go uh, less than, it's a strict comparison, and then width minus 1, right? And in this case I would just print f, let's say a wall. Yeah, it looks a bit yeah, whatever. Yeah, like imagine actually having a function, but would be, it's easier like this, honestly. Okay, otherwise, I mean, I need to write it, else we print f floor like a tile, so it's gonna be a tile map. Pretty cool, right? And then we print f a new line. So let's see what happens if we recompile this and run it. Oh, I mean, I didn't color anything, but actually the dots are colored in black, so it's, I guess I'm using that color as the background, so yeah, you don't really see the background, the character, because of the background, so that's that's cool. But yeah, let's actually put the player into the game. So maybe we can have it at a random position, or I guess in the center. Why not? Why not in the center? So unsigned int player x. Let's say it's gonna be width divided by 2. I don't want that once. Player y is gonna be height divided by 2. Yeah, I mean, again, probably it's easier to say column and row. But yeah, so here if the row is equal to player row and the column is equal to player column, let's do an else if. I would just actually print the player. Right, so we have our player on the map. Now, sure, we'd like to actually get the input. You know, if you press a key, redraw the map with that like the new state, right? So this would be the state of the game. This is the rendering, but we only render one frame. So why not just use a while one, like while true loop? I guess this is the initial state in a way. So we are gonna mutate that state. So we just keep printing this stuff. But after each time we print it, we are gonna wait for some input. And let's just, you know, make a proof of concept for now. It's not gonna be yeah, anything that interesting. So I guess we are gonna use scanf, but yeah, it's you know, just to read the character. So I would probably say a single character, right? And then we need to pass the address of that. So I'm gonna create here a character input, then we pass it. And yeah, I'm curious. Let's print that and see if it works. I mean, it should. Right, okay, so yeah, it works. And let's say we use WASD, or maybe we can even define those. Define move up, and it needs to be a character. W. Move left. A. Move down is gonna be an S. Yeah, I mean, we are slowly building a small game engine, if you think about it. Okay. But yeah, probably in this place it's gonna be a bit more interesting. I mean, I did this thing a while back when I did a Tetris game. So we'll try to reuse that because I mean, on the spot I don't remember how I did it, but pretty sure it's something also related to this kind of ANSI stuff. I just have to, see it. So then we can just compare the input. So if the input is equal to, yeah, I was thinking of using a switch, but no, move up. Then we can just player row. Well, if we move up, we do a -1 on the player row. Makes sense. Else if the input is move left, we subtract 1 from the column. If the input is move down, we need to increment the row. And if the input is move right, we should increment the player column. And if it's anything else, then we don't do anything. But yeah, okay, so wait. I mean, it moves, but it's pretty weird that it's printing this twice. Wait 1 second. So it's gonna print it, then it's gonna wait for us to give it an input, and then it prints it again. Yeah, that's a bit strange. So it's gonna print it, then it waits for input. Oh, I know why. It's because I need to also say here new line, right? Or what? C is much better than Rust because look how fast it compiles. Oh, it's not working. Yeah, I mean, quite interesting why that. So it's gonna print it once, then it waits for one symbol. But yeah, I mean, it at least it moves, right? Not sure why it's being printed twice, but it went out of bounds. Yeah, we also have to check that, but yeah, at least we have our character moving around. Yeah, interesting. Anyway, so the next, like, what's a bit annoying when playing the game right now is that you have to press the key, then enter, and so on, right? That's a bit annoying. It would be cool to just press the key and it just, oh, yeah, I guess it's because it somehow reads the character, then it reads the new line and so on. So that's why it does that. But yeah, whatever. And yeah, it's a bit annoying that you have to also press the enter key after each character. So I remember I did this one like in the Tetris game. So let me just try to search for the Tetris. Whoa, Tetris game. Right, I mean, it's been quite a while since then, so I don't remember how I did that. But in the CLI, we were able to just, oh, it was because we were cooking our TTY. It's cooked. Okay, interesting. But what's also interesting was that we were also using a separate thread for the input. Right, that's also important, because if we keep the input and the rendering on the same thread, we are not gonna really be able to do that. I mean, it's still gonna pause on get char. And now, it's interesting question. Do we want our game to be turn-based, like you press a key and after you press a key you move and all the enemies also move one step, or do we want it to be real time? And yeah, that's a good question, right? I mean, obviously doing it multi-threaded for the input makes more sense, and then switching back to turn-based is gonna be easier. But yeah, having a separate thread for the input is what would make sense to me. So yeah, I know we need a global variable for the input, and this one is also important. Clearing the screen. I think I stole this one from a script that was doing like a watch over some files to do a build. That's where I took it from, if I remember correctly. But I'm pretty sure it's gonna be explained also here somewhere. Hopefully. Well, maybe not. So let's just take this thing. Or maybe we can start with the input, because yeah. So here we had a while true loop, and then based on the value of input we were just moving our character. So yeah, it makes sense to have a separate thread. So let's just have a global variable for the input, right? I mean, the way of doing it without a global variable would be to use a pointer. And yeah, I mean, we can do that if you are curious how to do it, but let's just do it first without that thing. So we just copy paste the function for input, because it's gonna be just get a single character, we put it into the variable, and then if we press Q then it's gonna quit. But fine, wait key is gonna be a Q. Wait key, okay. So yeah, now in the while true loop, we would need this stuff a bit later, but for now let's also make sense to use a sleep here to be able to have like 30 FPS or something, right? And then yeah, we need this part. So let's take this part, let's put it before we draw. So this is like this is update, this is render. Like if you think of it as a game engine, basically this is what it boils down to. It's like a while true loop. You have an update, then you have a render, and I don't know if game engines use a sleep here, but with enough bad programming, you'll get to less than 30 FPS in no time, so it's not that important. And another important thing here, you can see it's that I was setting the input back to 0 because yeah, if you think about it, this while true loop is gonna run like each frame, let's say, but when we get input, we only get it when you actually press on the keyboard. So this variable input changes only when you press on the keyboard. So you can imagine that if you press on the D key once, input is gonna stay D from now on until you touch the keyboard again. And if we don't set it back to 0, then it's just gonna keep moving. I mean, we can even see that, I guess. But yeah, the other thing is to actually create a thread, because otherwise we wouldn't see anything. So let's just have this thing, right? We'll need like p threads for threading, and I think time is the one for sleep. No, pretty sad. We don't even have it. Maybe stdlib would make sense that the standard library has a sleep. No, bruh, unistd. I don't know what unistd is for, but it actually contains. Okay, whatever. So yeah, we can see what happens if we keep input to 0. So I mean, hopefully it makes sense what happens here. Yeah, it's like this, but I mean it's still a while one, so just don't look at this. It's a while true loop. So yeah, basically in a while true, we keep blocking on get char. So each time we get a char, we set that value to input. If we get the quit key, we just hit a break because we want to stop this thread, right? So it doesn't stay alive while our main program is stopped, because it's gonna just keep running until the operating system decides to kill it. It's like a zombie, but that's like a process. Well, I mean, if the process dies, then the thread should be also stopped. So this is not really needed, but I like to have that. So I guess at the end we have to pthread join it, right? So usually you want to have a pthread create, and once you are done with that thread, you want to join it. It's a good practice to have regardless. And yeah, I mean, see, like here, else if input is quit key, then we break. So let's rebuild this thing, and if we run it, you can see that it just interesting. Doesn't want to move this guy. Okay, let's also printf the character. Maybe I declared it somewhere and I shadowed the global one. That might be the case. Looks like it. Did I really do it? So input, it's pretty weird. Well, like, yeah, I started a thread, so maybe I really need to do this cooked thing to make it work from the beginning. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit strange because I remember this worked without clearing the screen, but maybe it's because I'm printing stuff and it's not yet ready to get the input or something random like that. Anyway, so I guess for system now it makes sense to use stdlib. Oh yeah, it's stdlib, perfect. So let's see now. Ooh. And I guess this is because of NextOS, obviously, NextOS. Let's see if we can run it like this, because otherwise the stty is as cooked. Oh, yeah, now it works. And you have to kill it with Q. So yeah, if I press on the D key, you can see that it starts moving and it doesn't stop until we, well, I guess if I, you know, but it doesn't really want to stop, right? And that's because we keep input set to that value. But if we clear it, if we clear the input, then if we press once, it just moves. Right? Pretty cool. So now the cool thing is that we don't have to press enter to enter our input. We just press the key, we use get char. And I mean, we could have done that before as well, but yeah. But at least now the game, runs in the render is separate than the input, so we are not limited by that, which is nice. Okay, let's stop the game, and now we can actually do the clear screen, right? And that's what I mean by the ANSI character codes. There are quite a lot of them we can make use of. So from what I understand, let's define it. This is something like move the cursor to 1 1. I don't know what H stands for. I guess H is for move or something, and then 2J probably is clear or something. But yeah, that's what I would assume it means. Okay, but again, I just copy pasted this stuff like from an even older project than this one. So after we run the cooked thing, ooh, then yeah, that's pretty bad news for our Tetris project. It won't work on NixOS. Well, sucks to use NixOS, what can I say? Yeah, I mean, I'm really wondering how NixOS guys deal with this kind of stuff. But I wouldn't really say it matters that much. Okay, so let's now it not gonna overwrite, like actually it overwrites itself, so we are not gonna see it plop down. So yeah, now we can actually move our character around, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'd be really curious. Probably we can even have a level editor in a text file, like create an entire level out of symbols and then parse that thing from a file and yeah, just play it like this. I guess pretty cool so far. Yeah. Okay. And I mean, we could. Oh yeah, and I saw in one of these rogue games. I don't remember exactly which one was that. So 32 is green. It really looks cool for trees. So find tree. If you use the, so I said 32 color, and you use the and symbol for the trees, they actually look like I guess, um, Christmas trees, like those kind of trees. So maybe let's do something like, I mean, we don't really have random yet, so it is what it is. But yeah, we can actually have a file which is gonna contain the map. So let's just say map.txt, or I guess world.txt, and the world is gonna be made, from the symbols. It's actually, I mean, it's actually pretty difficult to do it. I'm not sure how long it is. So it's like 9 characters, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, anyway. Let's put our character and then we can have, let's say, some trees. Or something. And then more space to another room. And then maybe here let's have a smaller room, something. And yeah, I guess the goal would be to just try to parse this thing. And turn it into a kind of label thing. And yeah, I don't know, it's gonna be like, if you go over a tree, you can mine it to get wood. We should probably add something like you cannot go over walls. But for now, let's just try to parse the map. So yeah, we are gonna look for world.txt. Let's do a define map file. I said world.txt. Yeah, I mean, let's just leave this for now. So I guess for the world we can use an array maybe. Yeah, I mean, I'm just wondering if I want to have something like an enum for tile kind or something. Tile kind, so kind. and we can have floor, but now it's gonna be interesting because the 3 obviously goes on top of a floor and the player 2, so it's not really the tile kind, it's more like the thing that's there. But I mean, it doesn't really matter, so we can have player, floor, wall, and 3. These are the things that we can parse, and maybe we can make use of ds.h in this project for the list. So let's just go to ds.h. If you don't know what ds.h is, it's basically my stdlib for C, and you just need to copy paste this ds.h file. It's so huge, I mean, it's not huge, so I just double get it, right? And now I can just well, let me just include ds.h. I mean, I guess I don't need everything, but let's just define implementation. So yeah, let's do a void parse world. Well, yeah, it would be interesting. For the world, we can have something like a structure. We can even type defit world whatever. You can say world t. And why I wanted to have a structure is maybe we can even have the player position, but that's in the array itself. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't really matter that much. So maybe we don't have a tile kind of type player. Maybe it's just floor, wall, and 3. And then the player position comes like player row, player width, or column, I guess. Player row, like non-signed integer. Sign in for player column. And then ds dynamic array. Well, we can even have floors and so on for everything, but would it be easier to have just tiles? Alright, and this thing contains void items, so it's not. But yeah, usually I put here something like, okay, this is gonna be the type. Okay, type structure. Let's have a tile, and a tile is gonna have tile kind and also the row and column or something. Alright, so maybe it makes sense. Maybe it also makes sense to keep not necessarily like this, but with just an array with everything, like a matrix, like a 2D array with tiles, even as characters would make sense, because we can just have a switch. So yeah, I mean, you know, we can even do that. Which maybe it makes more sense. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's just say we are gonna have here tile kind, because that works. And yeah, I mean, we can assume that the player spawns always on a floor. That's also a thing. So it is what it is. So this should take in, I'm gonna say, a char array buffer. So the file that we just read, and it should give us back world t world, right? Something like this. Probably this also needs the width of the world, because we want to know, like, this is gonna be a 1D array, and we need a width to be able to, you know, put the new lines where they need to be. Right, and in ds.h, pretty sure some of the last functions are reading files. So dsio read file, and you just give it the file name and a pointer to a buffer. So that's just perfect. Let's try to use it. Obviously it can return error code, but we don't care about errors. So map file, then we need a char pointer buffer, which we can pass. So I can even say null. We can pass here, and it's gonna read it, right? It can return error, but not that important. And well, let's see the docs. It doesn't show the thing, but I guess, oh, it's the number of bytes it read. Also, we get the length, but doesn't matter. What I didn't mention here is that if you don't pass the file name, I think it reads from the stdin, right? Yeah. So yeah, whatever. Okay. So then we want to parse world. That's one thing. I guess the next thing, parse world, and we pass in the buffer and probably pointer to world. Something like this. So we are able to get the world, and then the player row and player column, we are not going to use them anymore, because we are going to use world dot. And yeah, right now I'm not going to do the collision, we'll do it later, but yeah, something like this. And now we want to have maybe a world draw or something. World draw, and I mean, for some reason I like to do it a const pointer, even though I don't need it to be pointer. I like it more. Oh, and here Yeah, you can, even in the Tetris game, you can see I had a print. Print, I like more the name of print because it's actually what is gonna happen. So let's take, I guess, just the for loops, because it makes sense. And guess what we are gonna need, maybe we also need the height, the width and the height, why not? So here let's say world dot height and world dot width, and then yeah, we use the player column and so on to draw the player. Maybe the mistake here is that I should probably do it in a bit of another way. So let's have an int that is the index, and the index should be less than world tiles, and I guess count is the number of items that we have. Index increases. Then to get the row, we should divide, wait, let's think. To get the row, we should divide index by world dot width. Right, so if our index is 20, for example, and we have 5 items per row, so the width is 5, then the row is going to be 4. 20 divided by 5, yeah, something like that. And then we have another unsigned int for the column, and this one should be the the remaining part of this division, which is the modulo. So modulo world width, and that's how we get the row and the column. Now we could also have the char. So wait, I said the tile kind, so tile kind. I mean kind, whatever. We should have it like this, and then we can do a dynamic array get. Here we need to pass an address to world tiles, then the index, which we have, and a pointer to the thing itself. Wait, well, I mean, yeah, because this one should be a const pointer, but whatever. No, then let's just leave it. So yeah, we try to get the kind, and then we have a few checks to do. So if we are on top of the player, we draw the player. Otherwise, we need to look at the tile. So regardless of what tile we are on, we want to draw it as the player, if that's the player, right? So even if we are on top of a tree, we draw the player, we don't draw the tree. So then we can do a switch on the kind. let's populate the switch, and then if it's a floor we just draw a floor and then break. If it's a wall, then we draw the wall and we break. And if it's a tree, we draw the tree and we break. And then it's gonna be interesting if the column is 0. When should we... Well, I guess we should do a new line when the column is 0 and the row is greater than 1. So if row is greater or equal to 1, and column is equal to 0, we need to do a new line just to split our lines with new lines, right? So that's how we world print it. Yeah, as I said, I like to use a pointer even though it's not necessary. But yeah, now we actually need to parse the world, right? So that sucks. So I guess in ds.h, another useful feature from ds.h is the string slice. So the string slice, it's easier to do tokenization. I mean, it still uses strtoc, but it's easier to use in my opinion. So let's do a ds string slice, and then we can just ds string slice init, and here we need a pointer to the slice, we need the buffer and the length. So we actually need the length. Okay, let's do length, because yeah, as I said, ds whatever returns a number of bytes, so we can just assign int length, right? So now we can parse it safely. I mean, kind of. So yeah, then we can use tokenize the string by a delimiter, and it gives us, so this is the string slice delimiter, and then it gives us another string slice, right? So that's useful. So we need another string slice for this. Let's call it line, and then we do the string slice tokenize, and you might have seen here that it returns a 0 if a token was found and 1 if the string slice is empty. So we can actually iterate it. Tokenize. So let's use here pointer to slice. Delimiter is going to be new line and line. So I might say while this thing is equal to 0, we got a new line. Right. And then I can do to owned to be able to actually get the string back. I mean, it makes sense. String slice to owned. So I would probably say like line str, then string slice to owned, and then here we can pass in the line and then a pointer to line str. So this one returns 0 if there was success. Okay, I mean, it's gonna be a success. But yeah, now we need line length, sadly. Okay, it imported. Okay, that's perfect. So line str, even though it works. Str length. And now we can actually do a for loop. Let's do an I from 0 to line length. And in this one, I want just to check the character. So let's do maybe char tile is gonna be line str at I, right? And I mean line length is gonna be the width anyways. And now we can do like if tile is equal, and what, oh, actually what would be cool is, let's say I'm using this player ch, so these are the characters, right? So I can do something like this. And now I can have, I think this should work because I mean it's C. The only thing I was thinking about is in world.txt we have spaces, so maybe we want to replace them with dots or something. But yeah, we'll see. Character. So this should be all here, right? So now, yeah, if tile is equal to like player ch, we do something else. If tile is equal to floor ch, we do something. Same thing for the wall. And then 3ch we do. Yeah. So actually we have access to world, so let's just say the player row is gonna be equal to so in this case I is gonna be the column. Oops, let's just rename it to column. and then we have the row outside. So player row is going to be equal to row, world player column is going to be equal to column, and ds dynamic array append. Actually, wait, what? Oh, I don't think that works. Yeah. Well, actually, let's do something different. So I'm gonna do str and cmp. Let's have line str plus column, and we compare it to player ch. Like this is gonna work, right? So if this is 0, then that happens. What do we want? Oh, str and compare also wants the number of characters, so only one character. So this one is an else if, and it should be floor ch. So in the first case, the kind is gonna be yeah. Whatever. In this case, it's also floor. I mean, sure, would also have made sense. So this is the wall, and this is gonna be a tree. But yeah, we don't need that anymore. And here at the end, ds dynamic array append. It wants the tiles, others, and here we can pass the reference to kind, just to add it. Yeah. And then I guess world dot width is gonna be like line length. Why not? Let's not forget about row plus plus. And then the height is gonna be equal to row. So that's kind of it when it comes to parsing. I mean, let's just see if it's gonna work first try or not, because I guess it didn't. I mean, the character works to move it, but not really that great. So let's try to see what went wrong, maybe. So printf line str. Let's not use the cook thing. Oh, actually, let's not do the while loop. Right, that would be a better idea. So it actually, oh, okay. So it actually prints it. It's pretty interesting. Okay, let me also remove the threads, so it actually reads it fine. Okay, interesting. So let's do printf %d and then the character. So row column and line str column or something. Yeah. Oh god, I wanted to see the RC. Yeah, it's like it's strange. So yeah, it makes sense. So the player is at 3-4. Is that so? Yeah, because it's starts from 0-0. Yeah. So all of these things seem to be fine. Let's see here. Yeah, it found the player. Maybe this stuff is not right. Just yeah, I mean, maybe we don't even need this, but yeah, I was just thinking maybe we do. Who knows? Okay, maybe we have something like the new lines, which are also part of the line, and that kind of breaks it. Yeah, so otherwise I guess continue. So like we only append stuff from that, which yeah, sure, makes sense. But also the other thing is we never initialized tiles, so we also have to do that. So this dynamic array init, which is world tiles, it should be an address, and this is the item size. So the item size is size of tile kind, something like this, right? I mean, obviously I don't print it, but if we print the world after we read it, I mean, the colors are right, but it looks kind of, oh yeah, I mean, as I said, it's because of the spaces, right? Because here we get space and I don't know what to do with the space. So if it's a new line, sure, it's you know, new line, kind is equal to floor, maybe. But it's doesn't look right. Let me just break this. Let's see a single line, how it looks like. Doesn't make any sense. Well, yeah, actually it does, because player, yeah, it makes sense. Oh, I'm so dumb. This should be the maximum. But even then, how? Oh shit. Yeah, it's because of the dot, obviously. So thing is that we need to have this stuff to be padded because we use oops, one-dimensional array, so it needs to be like squarish. Cannot be. Okay, so now it works. We are missing the the first row for some reason. Strange. So we are missing the first row. That's pretty stupid. Wonder how that happened. I mean, I'm looking at this thing, but no, it cannot be. Like, column starts at 0, line str plus. I don't know. The fuck? Pretty sure the lines looked right. Let me just print f %s, whatever, new line str again. I mean, it contains the first column. You can see it. I'm gonna do plus column just to see what happens. Should still contain it. What the fuck? That's so weird. Maybe it's something wrong with printing, but not sure. Shouldn't be. Because it starts with 0, it goes up to count, does whatever. So shouldn't really be an issue. Yeah, let me just print f kind as a number, and then here let's print f a new line. Yeah, I mean it looks right. I'm a bit baffled, not gonna lie. Yeah, I really wonder where the thing went wrong, because yeah, I mean, we can see the first column, but here there's no first column. Am I blind? No. But what's this? The fuck is that? Oh, it's wrapped around. Holy. Yeah. So it looks like the new line should be before. So this thing should come first. Yeah, makes sense. Makes more sense. Yeah. Now it looks fine. Cool. Cool. So what if we actually try to run this thing? Oh, I mean it's missing the last thing, but yeah, it was a bit laggy. Maybe yeah. I mean, obviously we can go out of bounds, but that's an issue. Yeah, and also the last line, it's a bit cooked, as we say here. So maybe we need to do another print f at the end, print f a new line after the for loop. Why not? Yeah, now it looks better. So yeah, we have a map editor basically, and a pretty basic game. So now would be the idea to think what we can do with it. For sure, we need to add collisions with the walls, because doesn't make sense to have you go through walls. Then maybe add some enemies, like trees. Sure, can be just decorations, but maybe you can also interact with it, like to do some crafting or something, like collect wood, collect stones, craft a pickaxe, and transform this into Minecraft. But yeah, this one, no, pretty cool. Yeah, because I was thinking, if it's an ASCII game like this, you should be, because it was pretty easy to convert the Tetris game into an Arduino game, but yeah, I'm gonna be a bit complicated with this because I only have one color LEDs. Maybe I need multicolor LEDs, but yeah, I mean, yeah, still a decent start, let's say. So yeah, the goal would be to make this more interesting and see how what else can we do with it, because yeah, I mean, the ASCII game industry has potential. I mean, I'm just kidding, but yeah, you can learn quite a lot of things from building stuff like this. So sure, we'll see what we can do next time.